be but for them, and so built in Indraprastha, like another one. And when they had this palace completed, they would have a big festival. And the devotees or the personalities from Hastinapur were invited, not to like show off. We got a better palace than you do. That was my town. This is a festival. And the nature of this mystical place, besides it was like fabulous structure, it had some mysteries, like land appeared to be water and water appeared to be land. So Duryodhana came and he was walking across the courtyard to get to where everybody was, and he fell in the pond. And Krishna's queens were there because it was going to be a big festival. Krishna came with many queens. Other queens started laughing. This fellow he fell into a pond. He thought it was land. And Yudhishthira, being the virtuous one, said, "Stop. He's from a royal family. Don't laugh like this." And Krishna said, "Laugh." And he had reason. He wanted battle. He wanted to irritate Duryodhana to the point where he would deny anything so he could be victorious or I'm dead. I'll rule the world or I'm dead. So Krishna wanted, and Arjuna knew that Krishna wanted, because they're the best friends. So here's the battle scene. And the Bhagavad Gita is about to be spoken because Arjuna is going to say in distress from chapter 1, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up." So the close-up of that same picture, he's dropping his bow with all the warriors in the background, and he's the main hero, and he's out there, anxiety. And his words are speaking virtue. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandhiva is slipping from my hand, my skin is burning. More anxiety. His bows are falling out of their quiver, holding his head. I'm unable to stand there any longer. I'm forgetting myself. My mind is reeling. I see all the causes of misfortune. So he gives different reasons. Misfortune means if so many men on both sides are killed, their wives will be without husbands, and being without husbands, they can be violated and unwanted children are produced. I'll be the cause of unwanted children bring ruination to the rest of the world. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, or to kill me unarmed, unresisting on the battlefield. So those are strong words for a powerful warrior. And there are other virtuous reasons that he gives. This is my teacher. It's my grandfather. When our father died, saying to Krishna, when Pandu died, the one who raised us was Bhishma. Grandfather Bhishma became our father in the absence of our father. And he trained us and he taught us, and everything that I know about military skill was learned from Dronacharya. And there he is. There's Drona, there's Bhishma, they're my cousins. I can't do this. I can't do this. And I give up. And of course, you know what happens after that. Krishna chastises him. How does this petty weakness overcome you? You're a great hero. Everyone should perform their duty. This is your duty. It's speaking virtue. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you go into the kitchen in the summer, although it's hot, because that's your duty. Or you take a bath and it's cold because it's your duty. You brush your teeth in the morning because you brush your teeth in the morning. You don't think about it, you just do it. So negative emotion stays. This is a format for Krishna to present yoga. It's the world. Arjuna is a particular person, but he's in a sense, it's an indirect meaning, but it's also a direct meaning. He's representing conditioned souls like us that face states of negative emotions when we're not really sure what to do. It happens. Krishna guided Arjuna out of these negative emotions to the highest bliss of the Bhagavad Gita. And in the end, I'm ready. And he does event after including fighting against Bhishmadev, fighting against Jayadratha, powerful personalities. Because Krishna wants. Because Krishna wants. So that's the high road. And many of the struggles that people have are in forgetfulness of Krishna. That's one of the main messages of spiritual life, one of the main messages of Bhagavad Gita. And by default, we come into the realm of false ego. Say it the other way. False ego is the most subtle of all the coverings of the soul, from going way back in the beginning of creation. There's souls and there's material nature, Prakriti, and it becomes differentiated by the glance of Vishnu. And of all the elements that are in the undifferentiated state, the first one that comes out, false ego. The first thing that hits the living entity, false ego. Before we get intelligence and mind and a gross body, our dear friend, false ego. And in that false ego, forgetfulness of who we really are and forgetfulness of who Krishna really is, because you can't know who you really are without knowing who is Krishna. Or you can't really know Krishna without knowing who you are. They go together. When that's covered by false ego, that becomes the default. That's, I am the covering. I'm the body. Chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. Basic. I saw this little YouTube thing. The devotees from Russia somehow found out that in Times Square in New York City, they have this big signboard, and that for a lot of money, you can put a message up on that big signboard. So they found out, they put a picture of Prabhupada, and then a booming voice, "You're not that body." Times Square. And normally they don't allow religious messages, but they didn't take that as a taboo. They put it out there. You're not the body. Although it's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. And if we think that we're the body, that means I'm at the center, but because that's me, and then what comes from the body, that's what's in the category of mind. Like my work, attachment to the fruits of your work. And then from the fruits of your work, there may be some payment, and from that payment, then you buy stuff. Or there may be a combination of male and female, and you have offspring. So your house, your car, your bank balance, your taxes, your mortgage, your mind. and in my country, in my group, and so forth. The mind extends from the center. The center is me, I and mine. This aham, mameti are the Sanskrit phrases. And these two, I and mine, have the material world going around. Prabhupada's words. The illusion of living entity appears in so many forms, offered by the external energy of the Lord, while enjoying in the modes of material nature, the encaged living entity misconceives, thinking in terms of I and mine, and real individuality and real freedom are not possible as long as one holds on to a material conception of life. And that's, basic Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is addressing Arjuna's, the cause of his negative emotions, the cause of his despondency, and same for each of us. Trace it back and back. Where's that negative emotion taking shelter? It's taking shelter in the mind. Emotion, it's in the mind. There are two things, according to Bhagavad Gita. The mind carries conceptions of life, like the air carries aroma. You know that example, right? Because I spent so many years in New York City, just recently I was in Florida. It was a lot different than here. So I drove, it was like a 5-hour drive from Alachua to Fort Lauderdale. And there's like a highway the whole way. They have that turnpike, Florida Turnpike or something like that. And from time to time, over on the right side, because on the left side was the ocean, on the right side was just, countryside. And in some kinds, they were looked like a mountain on the right side. But it was artificial, it was a garbage dump. And often they put garbage dumps high up in the air. I mean, it's a garbage dump because there's all kinds of crows flying around. Not seagulls, crows. Because they were like garbage. Exactly as Prabhupada says. The birds, the swans go to the lake, the crows go to the garbage dumps. Zoom, 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 and it stinks. Because the wind goes from the garbage dump over to the sea. And it smells really bad. But it's just, the air is bad. It's the aroma that's in the air that's bad. That same air can pass over a botanical garden and it smells very nice. It's the same air. Air carries aromas. Just as the mind carries conceptions of life. So where do we get our conceptions of life? Depends on the association you keep. If you're, generationally, there are different mindsets, and you associate with people of that your generation, there's a certain mindset. Or, supposing it's a different culture. Then by language and culture, you have likings according to the association you have, or the teachers, or your parents, or the family, and so forth and so on. Now, those differences are a little bit homogenized, particularly here in America. There are still differences, but the differences are sharp and accentuated. But a lot comes from the association of people. And then there's another function of the mind. Second one mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Thinking, feeling, and willing. The verse, I'm sure you're familiar. By contemplating the objects of the senses, one may develop an attachment for that sense object. So there's the object there's the sense, and there's the mind. If the mind allows the sense to contemplate something, like, cheesecake, or, you're, whatever you're gonna have, something you like, you contemplate it, then you have a desire. So by contemplating the opposites, the thinking, feeling, willing are functions of the mind. Keep it short. So those two things. And then the conception of life arises not just from the variety of this conception, of bodily conception, depends on the group that you have association with. But the false ego is there regardless of the group. You can change groups, you can change conceptions, you can change things, but that part doesn't change. That's the cats and the dogs having a tug of war. The mind conception, mind group. Here's another graphic I like. I like graphics. Supposing this is Prabhupada. Supposing there's a pot of water in the middle of the room here, and you give everybody in the room a little pebble. And one person you ask, please put your pebble in the water. Tell me what happens. A little splash, and concentric circles go out from that splash. And it's very nice. And then someone else, and they put their pebble in a different place, and concentric circles go out. And it's also very nice. Until that place where the concentric circles intersect. And when they intersect, then there's a clash. And then supposedly he said, okay, everybody on the count of 3, throw your pebble in the pond of water. And it's chaos. And that's what material life is like, but there isn't a center. We have conflict between one and another. They have a different center, and they are disliking that they have a different center. So the idea, then Prabhupada's explanation is, supposing we give everyone another pebble and say, please place your pebble in the same spot as the other person. So the concentric circles still go out, but they amplify one another. And that's, is an ism. Let's take such and such as our agreed upon central point. That's, socialism, communism, or somethingism. And if it's not directed according to scripture, then it's also artificial and it doesn't last. And therefore, the teaching goes like, let's just find the root of all existence, like this lady that's watering the root of a tree. And by watering the root of the tree, all the leaves and branches and twigs and everything of the tree gets nourished because you pour water on the roots of the tree. That's how the rest of the tree gets warm from the root. So in the same way, when you act where you're watering the root of all existence, you need to know what the root, where does everything come from? That's the teaching on ego. One who remains attached to the bodily concept of life, of family and friends, cannot possibly give up the false egoism of I and mine, or I am everything and everything is mine. One who is actually learned must give up the illusory conception of life, in which one thinks, I am this material body, and everything in relationship with this body is mine. My house, my car, my family, my children, my husband and wife, and my parents, and mine. But the alternative is leaving behind the I and mine is taking spiritual conception. That I am part and parcel of the supreme, and then I'm service to the Supreme. And therefore let me give my energy to that root cause of everything that exists. That's the metaphor of watering the root of the tree. And that gives life more purpose. I think I'm going to modify this. There's a nice little audio clip. It takes about 3 minutes. And there's this celebrated American actor. I mean, celebrated. He's not like super celebrated, but he has a spiritual conception. He doesn't look like I look, but he says the same things I'm saying from his own platform of realization. I don't know where he drew this from, probably from some literature somewhere, from some teaching. But spirituality, one of his phrases is, we're not a human being having a spiritual experience, or a spiritual being having a human experience. We're part of something much greater than us, and one who lives their life in that way. Let's see what happens. One who lives their life, that's better. Thank you very much. One who lives their life in that way becomes enriched. And so, and there's hard data, he says, that explains the quality of life is very different for those that have a spiritual conception than those that don't. And it's not just a conception, it's who we really are. It's pretty simple. It's in principle, it's simple. The difficulty is letting go of the misconceptions, because they're deeply ingrained. They're not just, in this lifetime. There's lots and lots and lots of other before this lifetime experiences that are driving our conceptions. Fortunately, for all of us, myself and all of persons in this room, we've had the association, directly or indirectly, of our founder Acharya. And there's a lengthy description, but there isn't time for it just now, because what I've been asked to do is speak less and have lots of discussion, like half an hour and half an hour. I was like, yes, sir. So I'm not going to go into details, but it's a fact. And there's a very wonderful presentation made by a devotee named Radhika Raman. He's a professor at Boise State, somewhere in Idaho. And he was just for the past weekend at San Jose, or ISKCON, Silicon Valley. And he gave a seminar on Shastra, churning the topic of Shastra. And one of his repeated messages, this and that and the other way. We can associate with elevated persons, even if they're not physically present, through their writings. Because, as Prabhupada said, and then he broke it down and explained how it's true. I'll live forever in my books. One can directly associate, and then you associate with him, and you become a little bit familiar with the writings of the Acharyas, and he's just distilled in very simple, accessible English language the writings of previous Acharyas. Jiva Goswami over here, Rupa Goswami over there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur over there, and there's this whole assembly of these voices in the room. And we become privileged, he was using this phrase, to like eavesdrop, be part of the conversation. Well, what qualification do we have to eavesdrop on great souls having conversation? But somehow Prabhupada made it accessible, and so we can do that. And one can feel the presence of that personality. And personalities are different. Bhaktisiddhanta's personality was like, whoa, the Shringa Guru. He would challenge anybody that wasn't, standing straight, was crooked in some way or another, fearlessly, not abrasively, but fearlessly. He would address misconceptions and persons who were propagating misconceptions. A very great fortune. So that's our half an hour. The topic are Arjuna moments, where we're in a situation where we don't know whether to turn left or right. Although in Arjuna's case, he knew. And in Arjuna's case, he was Krishna's dear friend. So he knew what his friend wanted. And he knew his friend was the personality of Godhead. He wasn't unclear. It wasn't like the residents of Vrindavan. They didn't know, and they didn't care to know. Arjuna knew. My friend is the personality of Godhead. I mean, it is a long description, but Arjuna and Krishna are eternally together. As Narayana are eternally together, Arjuna and Krishna are Narayan, or Narayana, Arjuna, and Krishna, in this particular appearance of Krishna. It is written in scripture, and it's just, he knew. That's his position. Wherever Krishna is, Arjuna is there. Just like wherever Krishna is there, Radha is there. See, that intimate of a relationship. So he knew. At the same time, he, by Krishna's arrangement, because this happens by Krishna's arrangement, someone who knows may take the position of not knowing. So they can ask Krishna, and Krishna can say, with a tape recorder nearby. So they can record the conversation, and people can listen in to the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna sets him straight. But so he goes down the path of yoga, but the starting point before anything is this initial precept. Clear away the misconceptions and put in its place the spiritual conception. And a spiritual conception is not cosmetic. It's not something that you put on. It's something that's within. It's therefore it's universal. Who are you? Who am I? Good question. We had that class one time, right? Who am I? It's it. On Saturday in Farmington Hills, which is a suburb of Detroit, there was a youth gathering. They have a name for it, but they're like 60 college students packed up. It wasn't intimate like this. It was packed up. And that was the topic, who am I? It's a nice topic. Lots of questions, lots of discussion. And it's imperative to progress spiritually, that the starting point is to dial down the ignorance and dial up the light. Because ignorance is to not know who I am and try to make decisions in life so I can become happy. Because everybody wants to be happy. But operate with a misconception, it's not going to hit the target. Guaranteed. Not, it's just laws of nature. You're not going to hit the target. The happiness isn't in the material energy. And without knowing who you are, then you're in the material energy. doing the best you can. Be smart, do well in school, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Become the best. That's fine. But if you don't know you're the best of what? The best of foolish people. So fortunate are you that you're in your career development track at the same time getting an opportunity to have this question answered: who am I? And what's the purpose of life? What's the purpose behind the Supreme Lord has endowed each of you with some amount of intelligence? You wouldn't be at this institute if you didn't have. So here you are, intelligent young men, women. What's the purpose? That if you don't know, it's going to be something foolish. Get the degree and go to further studies and get another degree, and maybe you get a nice job, and maybe with a nice job you get a nice salary, and you get married and you have kids and get old and die, and it's all taken from you. That's it. That's it. That's life. And little grief in between, unwanted. So that's our little half an hour presentation. So ask the question. This is something I learned when I was in undergraduate school a few years ago. If you don't ask, even if the answer comes and hits you in the head, you won't recognize it. You have to be asking the question. And asking questions that don't have answers, or even difficult answers, or to speak of answers, simple answers, you'll live your life in ignorance. And that's unfortunate. And ignorance means suffering. So don't live your life that way. And you're here because you've made some choices to not live my life that way. And keep going, and keep going, and keep going. It's just not it doesn't mean trash your careers and your trajectory of life's evolving, but make sure there's a spiritual component that's very prominent, and it gets watered, like the watering of the root of the tree, etc. Because these bright lights, I can see people out there, but I can't see as well as but probably you can see me.
Can we open?
Oh, it's okay. I'm just commenting. I'm looking around, and let's see if there's some discussion. Now, Yasodhanandana sent me 4 questions that people already asked. And they're negative emotion questions. And how do I deal with this and that one, the other one? I think let's start with anyone in the room would like to raise a question or hear a topic discussed a little bit. And when it gets a little bit quieter, then I'll go to what I already have in my phone here. Those questions. Yes, there's one hand up.
So it is said that whatever we want, we should manifest it in life. So if everything is predestined, why do we even manifest?
Why? What's the question? Why do we?
Why do we even manifest? Like if everything is predestined, why do we even tell God that we want this?
You have a premise in your question that I don't agree with.
I don't get it.
The premise in your question is everything is predestined.
Yes.
There are certain things. We'll say 4 things: birth, death, disease, and old age.
Okay.
And what's it going to be like in between birth and death? That's not predestined.
Okay.
That's so there's a relationship of between us and the one who sanctions. The one who sanctions, that's Paramatma. And because he's situated within, he knows what we want. And from chapter 15 Bhagavad Gita, he knows what you want, and he gives the intelligence to help you get what you want.
Okay.
Supposing I want to be a murderer. Supposing I want to be a gangster. Supposing I want to, supposing. Then there's some intelligence how to steal, how to drink and become a drunkard, and how to live my life how I want to.
Right.
But it's not predestined. It's sanctioned, and there's a relationship, and it may have this orientation, but that can change by the mercy that comes from not only the super soul, the Lord of the heart, but some devotee comes along and taps you on the shoulder and says, guess what? You don't have to live your life this way. Really?
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So then that's that. One who is carrying bhakti, they're a change agent. It doesn't. Supposing one's not carrying bhakti, so a good person can become a corrupt person, or a corrupt person can become a good person, in the modes of nature. A rotten apple can spoil the barrel, etc. So association means a lot. That helps influence how we desire the modes of nature that we're moved by, but still we're making choices, and therefore the opposite of the predestiny. Let me make wise choices. It's not predestined that I'm going to become a Hare Krishna person, and as well as a master's degree holder in information technology or something like that.
Okay.
Not predestined. Yeah, I have to do stuff, make choices, and have the right kind of association.
But do you think even the choices are kind of influenced by some kind of a bigger spirit?
Yes, and the bigger spirit, this is an important item, the bigger spirit doesn't muck around with your free will. They see and they reciprocate. Now that greater entity, Krishna, may see here's an individual who has the potential of coming to me. There's some persons that they're inimical, they're hardcore, and they're difficult personalities. But Krishna may send some special mercy to that person who can become a very special individual. A very nice example, and it's a scriptural one, is Kaliya. You know the story? Kaliya serpent?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kaliya serpent.
Yeah.
He was bad.
Mm.
And he had a history of badness.
Yeah.
From way back, way over in Fiji, where he used to live. But he ended up in the Jamuna because Garuda had a curse. If you enter you take living entities for your food from this place, you're going to die. No, you can't curse Garuda. But he received a curse, so to honor the curse of the sage, he stayed away. So that's where Kali went. He was advised, go to the Jamuna, hang out in the Jamuna, and Garuda's not going to bother you. So that's what he did. He was bad. fit to be punished. But the punishment he got was purification. Dancing on the hoods of his serpent hand, 1,000 hoods, and he became purified. by Krishna's mercy. So Krishna can directly or indirectly by sending a representative. Here's a hardcore person. Let me try. And because it's coming up this week, Nityananda. You know the example? Yes.
No.
Jagai and Madhai, two used to be brahmanas but became degraded and drunkards and woman hunters and plunderers and rogues. People were afraid of them. They would, in a drunken state, go here and there and steal. They were wild men. So Nityananda rescued them. It's a nice history. On his appearance day, Nityananda's appearance day, I hope you get a chance to hear.
Okay.
Nityananda. So incorrigible persons can become corrected if the mercy of a Vaishnava comes into their life. And the Vaishnava is a qualified person.
Got it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
That predestined. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. My question is how to deal with uncertainties and navigate peacefully amidst uncertainty and make good choices.
It's a good question. Well, I'll suggest three things. One is you have a place of shelter. If you don't have a place of shelter, uncertainty is like a cork or a piece of wood floating on the ocean. And sometimes the waves go up, the piece of wood, the cork goes up, and then down. And it's where it's going to go next depends on the movement of the waves. There's lots of uncertainty. However, in our life, not like a piece of wood or a cork, but if we have a place of shelter, something that is unchanging, is certain, a place of shelter. So theism is, in a broad sense, is something like that. It's a place of shelter. And then there are different theisms, but to narrow down the theisms, Krishna has a list of them categorically and ends up with where Madhkatena Antaratmana Shraddha Band, they have faith. Then when you have faith in that which is permanent and real and all powerful, find such a place of shelter. And when you have that shelter, then you can persevere easily through uncertainty. You may not know if the wave is going to go up or down. It's going to be wavy, maybe very calm, maybe turbulent, maybe a storm, maybe a hurricane, but you have a place of shelter. And that unchanging place of shelter is how you can, to address your question, how you can handle uncertainty. It's okay. If I don't know what's next, it's okay because I have a place of shelter. And how do I get that place of shelter? Through one who has a place of shelter. Krishna may be far away and I'm this little person, so what's my privilege of being in Krishna's association because I'm tiny and insignificant. But someone who has that shelter, let me take shelter of that someone who has that shelter. It's not demeaning, it's an answer to your question. And with that place of shelter, that person who has a place of shelter, it's not like to go to and cry and hang on them and, make them solve my problems or to make decisions for me. I don't want that. I want wisdom. And from this wise person, I can get wisdom. And thereby come closer to that place of shelter for me. So then, Shraddhavan Bhajate Yomam, it's from Bhagavad Gita, with faith. Is there such a thing? An atheist will say no such thing. A theist may say, I think so. And a wise person will more than think so. They're in that place of shelter, and you can feel that they're in that place of shelter because they're very stable. They don't waver. They're not in that, go back to your question, that place of uncertainty. They may be passing through the same storm that you're passing through, or a storm-like condition that you're passing through, but they're very stable because for many reasons, because they have that shelter, but they're very patient. They understand the storm is going to go away. Like this, this thing. It's not nice to give a public lecture. I have to whisper. I'm not used to that, but it'll go away.
Thank you.
So you focus on the eternal and less upon the temporary. And if you don't understand, perplex a little bit about turning left or right, or how to adjust things in such a way that contentment and the certainty resumes. Be patient and follow a path given to you by the wise persons and by Krishna himself. How to get to that position is follow the yellow brick road. There's a simple path and procedure. Sadhana bhakti. And then you do that because the sadhana means that which is unwanted becomes cleansed. And as the unwanted becomes cleansed, the thing that's wanted is already there. It becomes revealed. So let me stay with it. The cleansing, the unwanted, and the awakening of the wanted. And then I know who I am. And with that knowing who I am, then I have much more certainty about what choices I should make and how to deal with the complexities. The same super soul that is guiding living entities. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dhamma Pranam. I have a question related to the thing you said about we are the spiritual living beings living in this human world.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a personal question about that?
Sure.
Yeah. So being a self-realized soul and self-aware soul, do you still have desires, like material desires?
Yes.
You do. And what's the thing that gives you most happiness except for serving Krishna in material?
Well, let me just qualify. I give a quick yes. Let me qualify. It's not the same
Okay.
as spiritual progress, because I've been practicing for a few years now. So it's the material means separate from Krishna. Material means separate from Krishna. Spiritual means in relation to Krishna. So you have intelligence. It's material. It's one of the 8 separated material energies. You've got some. Congratulations. But it's material. Now, is it possible to spiritualize? Yes. So how is that done? You dial down the apart from Krishna component of consciousness and dial up in relation to Krishna component of consciousness, of intelligence. Is it possible to be a very intelligent person and fully Krishna conscious at the same time? Yes. And then the dial can go the other way. Demons can be very intelligent. And so it doesn't have to be like, somewhere to be just by cultivation, by sadhana cultivation of that which is in relation to Krishna, you use it. So back to your question, is there still, indirectly you're asking, are you a pure devotee? And the answer is no. A pure devotee will not say, I'm a pure devotee. And you're not. No, that's not a pure devotee. They don't do that. So you ask someone who's a pure devotee, are you a pure devotee? And they're going to say, no, I'm not a pure devotee. I'm this and that and the other thing. I'm unqualified and so forth and so on. Like Prahlad. Born of a divine. He's so exalted. He's above the demigods. He's able to pacify Lord Nrsimhadev, and they're not. He's a little boy, and they're highly educated, streams of wonderful prayers. He's above them, but he's thinking the opposite. Who am I? Little boy, didn't even have proper education yet. And, I'm disqualified. So ask a pure devotee, are they a pure devotee? And they'll say what Prahlad says. But in principle, to diminish the separate from Krishna desires and connect those, like say eating. So we don't say don't eat, because that's a material desire. But take that which is in relation to Krishna, which Krishna provides, and not too much. So that's a spiritualized desire for eating, and then honoring Krishna in that way, becoming purified by Krishna in that way. No, I interrupted your question. You were on a roll, and interrupted you.
Is it possible to get rid of the desires?
Well, you can purify but not get rid of. There's a Buddhist idea that says have no desire, and that's like become a stone. But we're not stones, we're spirit souls, and the spirit souls have desire. And in the purified state, that's purified state, that's a desire in relation to Krishna. The desire to love and be loved, that's a desire in relation to Krishna. I'd like to love Krishna's parts and parcels. I'd like to love the source of those Krishna's parts and parcels. It's not an aspiration. It's not even possible, because we're spirit soul. We're animate, we're active, and we have desire. Back to your question about predestiny. We're going to have desires. That's you can say predestined, but which type of desires? We can have purified desires, and that's the target. And what's the purified desire? That Krishna should be pleased. Love. That's the target. Love for Krishna. And one could say, I'm not there yet, but let me practice. That's sadhana. And start making my choices aligned with that target. We all are making choices daily. So you're younger than I am, and you're newer in this lifetime at least, of making choices. So align those choices as much as you can. Find out what's pleasing to Krishna and make choices accordingly. And that means the things that Krishna doesn't like, they go in another category. You dial that down because it's not pleasing to Krishna, so you just don't do that. Just today, I'm standing at baggage claim, at Midway Airport, and a call came. Somebody that lives in California, and they wanted to know by the end of the day, there's a real estate agent that wants them to sign a contract for a home. The plan is buy some land and build a structure to help the elderly, aged, and infirm people. Should we do it? And I'm like, what? So the details and details. When you have in America today, having something like that, you serve meat, maybe not liquor, because that's not healthy, but meat is considered healthy. So you serve meat. So the answer was no. And I'll give you scripture. So I sent 2 documents. I had somebody, so 2 documents with just all the consequences of being a participant in the act of animal killing, the animal cooking, the animal transporting, the animal taking the life of animals. And according to scripture, Manu Samhita, for every hair on the animal's body, you have to have birth as an animal be killed. For doing good, opening an old age home, an elderly home. Without knowledge, without proper scriptural knowledge, you can make some wrong decisions with good intention and have consequences. So it's good to know the scripture and then align yourself with what scripture says. Say, maybe not that particular field of occupation, but choices. And daily we're making choices. Align your choices with what's pleasing to Krishna in principle. Then you be responsible to know what's pleasing to Krishna. If you're Arjuna, you know because you're his dearmost friend. Like Uddhava. He was like Krishna. They were both cousins. But Uddhava, I'm going off a little bit, but it's just a principle. Uddhava was so intimately connected with Krishna. He was even more intimately connected with Krishna than Arjuna. Because he was with Krishna all the time. From the time Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura and then went to Dwarka, he was constant companion. And he was so wise was Uddhava that he would advise Krishna. Krishna would turn to him and ask, what should I do? Not that Krishna doesn't know, but he's giving him some service. And he would always give wise advice. So when it was time for Krishna to depart, he knew. So in private, he went to Krishna in Dwarka, fell at his feet, started crying. He didn't say, don't go. He just said, take me with me. Don't leave me behind without you. And then, they had the Uddhava Gita, a whole big discussion on, because that's one of the things that Krishna does to relieve those who are intimately connected with him of negative emotions, of dealing with the world that's not nice. It's not nice. You can try to make it nice, but it's forever not nice. But there's a way to make the best use of, and the way to align with what's pleasing to Krishna as you're making your choices going forward. That's our life. That's the life of devotion to Krishna. Let Krishna be pleased. Make choices that align with that. So it's not desire less, but desire in relation to. Krishna will smile. That's what I want. When I know that Krishna smiles, I'm smiling. I'm content. Even I got a cold. Because Krishna appreciates the sacrifice. Regardless, you don't have to have a cold to make a sacrifice. You can be in any situation. Just take his message and share it with other people. Make sure you have the right message. According to your capacity, according to your nature. The desireless is imagination. There's no such thing. Nice try. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, I see. Another hand. Back to the same one.
Are there any practical steps to be sthit pragya in your life?
To do what?
To be sthit pragya in your life, like to be unaffected by the highs and lows of life. Are there any practical steps for
Yeah,
that?
I said it before. I'll say it again. Have shelter. The wave is going up. The wave is going down. We don't wish the wave to go down, but the waves go down. There's just what waves do. There's winds moving and it moves. So the energy is moving. There are forces behind the energy and the energy is moving. So now, what's my place of shelter? Through this temporary asat. What's sat? Is it? Is there such a thing? And if there is such a thing, how do I find that such a thing? So from scripture or through one who's in touch with Sat. There's Sanskrit phrase, na sate vitate bhavo, na bhavo vitate sataha, uvayorupa dvishtontas, tvanios tattvadarshini. So from Bhagavatam. A tattvadarshi is one who is in touch with Sat. So find such persons, or one such person, and align yourself, learn from them, be respectful and serve and assist them in some way or another, as to your capacity, and then you learn what is Sat. And then that gives you intelligence and strength both to endure the temporary, the duality. It's chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita.
But don't you think if everything is temporary, even the shelter can be temporary?
Okay, say it again slower.
If you think that everything is temporary, everything is transient in life, can't the shelter
The material is transient, yes. There's some things that are not. The spiritual is not. Just like this is, who am I topic. You have a body. At some point in time, you could be an old lady.
Yeah.
At some point in time, you're a little baby. Goo goo gaga. And the body is changing. The parts of the body are changing. But there's persistence of you, persistence of identity. And as you are continuing as an eternal spark, there's the supreme eternal from whom you and I have come. And our attention needs to be directed there. That's yoga. Linking with the supreme, that's yoga. Not just, asanas and pranayama, but linking with the supreme, that's yoga. And as the living entity becomes linked with the supreme, you feel a place of shelter because that's unchanging. While the body, everything else is changing. And it's okay. Because that's the kind of world we live in. It's a temporal place. Matra sparshastu konteya. You know the verse, Yisoshna sukha dukkha da. Agama payo nitaks. You tolerate the temporary while your attention goes to that which is eternal or unchanging. And you have a relationship. And when you have, maybe at some point in time, you'll become a mother. Maybe. And when you're a mother, you have affinity for a child. You don't have to go to mother school to learn how to have affection for your child. It's built in. Bodies are made that way. So as the soul similarly has a natural affinity for the Supreme Father, the child to the mother, the dependent living entity to the Supreme, but we forgot. We're in La La Land trying to be happy through the temporary.
Got it. Okay.
So
thank you.
make that connection. That's yoga. And it's very simple, and it's very natural, and it works. and be in the association of those that are moving, are aligned in that direction, genuinely aligned in that direction, not cosmetically, but genuinely aligned in that direction, and make that your association according to your propensities and profession and nature and all those, covering things, all those temporary things, aligned to the Sat, Om Tat Sat. Very simple. How are we doing? Are we ready to end? I think we're ready to end. Oh,
My
microphone.
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Not for you, friend.
Okay. My question is that some people are passionate about something or the other. Then, according to you, what is the difference between dharma and passion, in a sense?
The difference between dharma and passion.
Yes.
Really? It depends. They can be the same or they can be very different. So dharma, in the classic sense of dharma, it means performance of prescribed duty. I mean, that was one of the initial presentations. Dharma refers to principles given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See on the screen? Dharma refers to the principles given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So a dharmic person who lives by those principles. Let's take, for example, Lord Ramachandra, Maryada Purushottama. He's the emblem, the Purusha, Uttama person that abides by Dharma. His life is setting the standard for Dharma. He doesn't do anything else but, although there may be circumstances that look like, by examination, by hearing from him, it's exactly according to Dharma, without examples. Killing Bali from the position of king, Bali is to be punished by death, cohabiting with another man's wife, his brother's wife, punishable by death. So it would, etc., etc. So that's dharma. So but that's para dharma, the supreme occupation, because other people do dharma with a different motive than pleasing the personality of Godhead. They do dharma because they want artha. And what do they want artha for? Kama. You know the sequence. That's the fuel in the tank. They do dharma because they want artha, because they want kama, either in this life or a next life, or a heavenly destination after this life. But build pious credits by doing dharma, because that gives them their artha, their prosperity and beauty and intelligence and so forth and so on. The material assets that's passion. Back to your question. That's passion. Dharma for the purpose of getting something. Do something to get something. And it's a more motive goodness way to do something to get something than those who are undharmic. They don't follow any codes of scripture. They do something to get something. And that's atheist or it's not advisable. So depends. The answer to your question depends. If you're aligned, if you're Lord Ramachandra or aligned with Lord Ramachandra and his devotees, like Hanuman, he was passionate for Lord Ramachandra's sake. He burned Lanka. He didn't have to. He did it. They mistreated him, but it wasn't like, I'm going to get back. It wasn't that kind. It was he wanted them to understand. They were too, at least Ravana, too dull to understand. So he had to get smacked. But he was, was he passionate? Transcendental passion, yes. And then, he was very calm. He put his tail in the sea and looked back at the city on fire, and mission accomplished. Then he goes to Ram and tells, I found, and I have her ornament, so Ram will know I found her. And so it was just, please, when Ram saw Hanuman and heard the story and saw the ornament, he embraced him. Perfection. All of that was for the embrace, for the Ram should be pleased. So doing dharma for the right reason, that's paradharma. That is not passion. It may be intense, but not passion. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that.
You have something more? Okay. Okay. I brought with me, as I usually do, some Mahaprasadam. The devotees in Detroit, I brought with me to Detroit 4 boxes of Mahaprasadam from Florida. They're all gone. So they gave me some more. So I have some right here. But this is from Chicago. I can tell the color. This is Burfi, which is a milk sweet, but it's dark Burfi. That's not what they said with me. That's pretty much his mother-in-law. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so I'm going to walk around. You just put your right hand out and something magical will happen.